Psst, psst. Have you ever been upside down before? Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Josh Brown. I'm the youth director here at Grace Youth Group. And roller coasters, your stomach when you get nervous, and babies. What do these things have in common? Well, they're all things that go upside down. Things that are upside down can cause us to feel all sorts of different ways. But did you know that God's kingdom is described as upside down? We've been traveling through a series called Kingdom Culture. And this basically is when God's reign, His rule, His kingdom comes and interacts with our lives. And it actually in turn changes us, who then go out and change the culture around us. That culture, it might be your school. It could be your friend circle. It could be your family. It could be your city. Dude, it could be the whole world. When God gets a hold of your life, He motivates you towards being a culture changer for His kingdom. Alright, so let's roll the intro. We're going to talk about the upside down nature of God's kingdom in this week's episode of Kingdom Culture.
Kingdom culture, 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 kingdom culture.
Being upside down. Some people, they really love it. Some people, they don't love it. But what it does do is it makes everything disorienting. So we get so used to being right side up all the time that when we go upside down, everything gets super confusing. This confusion is what the mother of two of Jesus's followers felt when she asked Jesus if her two sons can sit at the seat of honor in Jesus's kingdom. The story goes like this. Let me read it for you. Then the mother of James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to Jesus with her sons. She knelt respectfully to ask a favor. "What is your request?" Jesus asked. She replied, "In your kingdom, please let my two sons sit in places of honor next to you, one on your right and the other on your left." But Jesus answered by saying to them, "You don't know what you're asking. Are you able to drink from the bitter cup of suffering that I'm about to drink?" "Oh yeah," they replied. "We are able." Jesus told them, "You will need to drink from my bitter cup, but I have no right to say whether you're going to sit on my right or my left. My Father, who has prepared those places for the ones He has chosen." When the 10 other disciples heard what James and John had asked, they were indignant, they were riled up. But Jesus called them together, saying, "Boys, you know that the rulers of this world lord it over their people. The officials flaunt their authority over those under them. But among you, it's going to be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you, they've got to be a servant. Whoever wants to be first among you, they've got to be a slave. For even the Son of Man," that's me by the way, "came not to be served, but to serve, and to give His life as a ransom for many." All right, helicopter parent alert. Helicopter parent alert. Helicopter parent alert. Helicopter parent alert. Have you ever had a parent that's kind of like hovering over you, overly involved in your life? Well, that's kind of like James and John's mother at this current moment. She's walking up to Jesus, asking Him this insane question, which has such weight and importance to it. And she doesn't fully understand what she's actually asking. She's confused about the kingdom of God. So she asked for her sons to sit in the position of power and honor in Jesus' kingdom. kind of like a prince would be in medieval times. But Jesus steps in and he flips the whole thing upside down. See, Jesus goes on to explain that his kingdom is not like the other kingdoms that he saw in the world back then and that we see in the world right now. Kingdoms that seek selfishness and ultimately end up destroying themselves or others around them. No, Jesus' kingdom looks totally different and upside down, backwards even, to the way in which our human kingdoms have been lived out. See, in our world right now, we often see people destroy others for their own selfish gains. I mean, just look at any country or any government that has participated in some kind of war or some kind of human trafficking or slave labor. These are all things that seek to hurt and oppress other people. Jesus recognizes that these kingdoms are all around in the worlds that we live in and in the worlds that even we don't live in. Jesus explains that in his kingdom, the greatest, they become the least. The leaders become the servants. The first become the last. Jesus takes and looks at kingdoms, cultures, societies, and he flips the whole thing on his head. He turns it all upside down. It's just like in Stranger Things. Have you seen Stranger Things? Love that show. It's like when the homies go into the upside down. Everything seems different. Everything looks different. But it's still the same world. Everything's just flipped upside down, hence the name, duh. Jesus' kingdom interacts with the world around us, but it has a different kind of effect. Also, it's not nightmare-inducing. The craziest part about all that Jesus said about his kingdom being upside down, backwards, first and last and greatest and servant, is that Jesus didn't just say these things as if he thinks they're a good idea. He lived these. The craziest part about Jesus' teaching about his upside down kingdom is that he didn't just leave it as an idea. He actually lived out this reality by going to the cross. The God of the universe, the author of all life that we see, chose to humble himself, going from the greatest to the least by offering his own life for the sake of our world around us to experience the life and the goodness that he has. All right, so you might be saying, okay, great, this is all well and good, but what does this mean for me? Like me as a middle school or high school student, what does this actually mean for me? Here's what I'm going to say. We need to stop asking the wrong questions. We need to stop asking, how can I become the greatest in my community? How can I become the greatest in my circle? How can I be the most popular? How can I look like I have the most friends? How can I feel like I've got the most clout? How can I get the most TikTok followers? How can I be the great? We need to stop asking that question. These things are momentary pleasures. Yeah, it can feel great to have 100K followers on TikTok, but these are momentary pleasures that ultimately will not satisfy. What we should be asking is, how can I become the least? How can I become the servant in my community, in my culture around me? How can I become the last to make sure that others become the first? How can I use whatever greatness God has given me to become a servant to all around me? And to that I say, look to Jesus and his example. See, Jesus was able to do these things because he has the power of God within him, because he is God. And see, if you're a follower of Jesus, then you actually carry that same power with you. So I want you to search the Bible. Ask people around you how it might look for you to become the least, the servant, the slave to others around you. Okay, that's all we got for now. My name is Josh Brown. Think about these things and peace out.